Hi, we're the relationship coaches. My name's Lindsay.
And I'm Lisa.
And today we are talking all about.
You don't even know. She doesn't even know. We're talking about relationships, obviously.
I just forgot.
I want to know, Linz, though, how many relationships do you know where both parties are unhappy? Like unhappy relationships.
Well, I am a relationship coach, so I'm going to say the answer to that is quite a few, Lise.
Right. Of course, naturally. But I mean, like in your real life, like I mean, that is your real life, but like your life outside of work, like when
I knew what you meant.
Talking to people, like how many people seem unhappy in their relationships?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a lot. If I'm going to be honest, a lot.
A lot.
Yeah. And like friends, and I know that people are more open with me and with you because they know that that's what we do. But even outside of that, like you listen to stories that friends have of their other friends, or even sometimes, are you an eavesdropper? Sometimes I'm in restaurants and I'm listening.
Of course you are.
I can't help it. I don't engage, but I'm not going to lie. I'm listening.
You don't just slide the business card on the table as you're walking. You should.
I don't. But I do listen a lot. And people, especially when you, have groups of women, particularly at a table or whatever, they're talking about relationships a lot of the time. And, and they're not happy.
Yeah. I mean, one of the questions that we ask our couples when we first start working with them is, can you think of or describe a couple in your life that is a role model couple, like a happy, engaged, fulfilled, connected couple that you look up to, that you would like to emulate your relationship or build, that's an inspiration even for you. And it's actually kind of sad to me that like most of the time it takes a long time for people to even think of one couple, that is that like happy, engaged role model couple that they, would like to be like.
Yeah, it stumps a lot of people for sure. And really all it is taking the question you just asked me when you were asking me like, how many unhappy people do you know? It's saying, how many happy people do you know?
Yeah, and we're on a mission to change that.
Yes.
We really are, because it is possible. It is possible to have an amazing and connected relationship. And I think what gets in the way of people trying to create that is fear.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's fear. You think about how divorce nowadays is more acceptable, right, Lise?
Yeah,
like
you're not like shunned from society.
There's no scarlet letter.
At least not in the same way.
Not in the same way. But people are so scared of it. And I think that's what you're talking about when you said fear, right? Is that there's still a fear of failure. And in society today, when a relationship ends, it is still deemed a failure that it ended, right? Like how do we measure success? It's usually
longevity.
Yeah, longevity.
Oh, so you've been together for 50 years.
Together?
Yeah. Then it's like amazing, best couple, best relationship ever. But
step forward,
come closer. But if you actually look at those couple, and I'm not saying they're not out there, they are. Like I'm always on a mission to find them, and occasionally I do. But those couples that have been together for 50 years, a lot of them, have kind of like given up on like making it great maybe 20 or 30 years ago. So again, we're on a mission to make sure that like if you want to stay together for 40 or 50 years, that's amazing. If you both choose to do that, that is the goal. I think a lot of people's goal still.
I think it is.
To have a long-term relationship. What we're saying is like, don't settle. Don't allow it to become shitty and then sit in that for the next 30 years just so you can get an award for the 50 years.
Yeah, just because you are living in that place of fear, right? That fear of failure.
And the fear, like think about all the other fears. There's fear of like being, financially ruined, or like eating Kraft dinner, living in a trailer for the rest of your life. Nothing wrong with trailers, but just saying that's not most people's ideal. And they do worry about what happens when you're going to split the assets and split the finances. And that's a real fear.
That is a legitimate fear. I mean, do you fear that? Do you fear maybe what splitting up might do to your kids, right? Like maybe you've asked yourself the question, should I stay? Should I go? But these fears creep in that we're talking about here today. So do you have a fear of, if I split up, what what about my kids?
Will I still get to tuck them in every night and wake up with them every morning? And if I don't, what does that look like? And will they be okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you fear losing, maybe you're close with your in-laws. Do you fear losing your relationships and connections with them? Maybe it's Sunday night dinners. Maybe it's trips. Maybe they're the only family you've ever really had. So is that a fear of yours that you're going to lose them if you do split?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of fear around family and friends, right? Like, do you fear even just letting down your friends or fear letting down your family?
Yeah. Yeah, that group of friends could be something that you formed together as a couple, and so you feel like who's gonna be friends with who, or is it gonna be this like awkward thing, or will I lose all my friends?
Yeah. It could even be a fear, Lise, like a base human fear of change. Right?
Yeah.
We get stuck in whatever, but in our relationships, we also get stuck in this place of comfort, and when we make change, like anything that we make change in life, it's scary.
Yeah. Or maybe you're afraid of being alone. Maybe you feel like staying in this disconnected relationship is better than risking what it might feel like to be alone.
Yeah, it's that devil you know and the devil you don't, right? Yes.
Yeah.
It's a reason all these sayings are sayings, because they're a normal thing. A normal human experience to fear these things.
Okay, I've got another saying for you then, Lynn.
Okay.
Maybe you're not sure if the grass is going to be greener,
Yeah.
right? Maybe you're like, well, if I just fix up my yard, I could have beautiful grass too.
Yeah. that is like a legit fear. Is that really a fear or even just a hesitation? That is also legitimate, because what do we know about the statistics, Lise? Like 50%, I think all people know this stat now, 50% of marriages end in divorce. Less and less people are even getting married. But what happens to a second marriage?
65%.
And then a third marriage.
75%.
So
which is wild.
the grass is probably not greener. The same issues exist, right?
If you didn't do the yard work before you looked over that fence, right?
Exactly.
Which is what we're here to do, right?
Yeah.
We want everybody to learn how to create that great relationship here, now, in your own backyard.
Yeah.
And Linz, another point to bring up here is how long people stay in that fear and avoid having the conversations with their partner, or asking for help, or going going the extra distance to kind of ask for what they need.
Yeah.
6 years.
That is wild.
6 years people wait in tumultuous, miserable, fighting, uncomfortable relationships before seeking help, before going to counseling or coaching or having the real conversations with their partner.
And that's a stat from Gottman. And you know what? At least it could also just be 6 years of waiting in the question of, should I stay or should I go? Maybe it's not tumultuous.
Right.
Maybe there's nothing blatantly wrong, but there's also nothing really great. And so maybe it's the middle of the night right now and you've just Googled, should I stay or should I go? And yeah, are you going to wait the 6 years in that question?
Are you wondering, like, is this as good as it gets with the person that I chose?
Yeah.
Or can we make it better? Can we make it work? And since we're talking about fences a lot, and that analogy just came in, like, maybe you're sitting on the fence, literally looking into your yard and wondering, like, can I make this life great? Can I make this relationship great? And looking over into the other yard, the unknown, and both are terrifying. It's like scary to stay stuck and miserable, and scary to leap and go into the unknown. And so you just get paralyzed.
Yeah. That's also a decision, though. People are gonna be mad at me maybe for that statement, but not making a decision is in fact a choice. You are choosing not to get in to that yard and not to get out of that yard. You're choosing to sit on that fence. Yeah.
Wow, this went deep and dark. I mean,
No, not Not dark.
Not
Not
dark.
dark.
Not dark.
Not dark. Just really just diving into that whole 6-year stat, which
Yeah.
is, I guess the 6-year stat is dark, but that's not us. We can't help what people do. Unless you come to talk to us, obviously. But here's the thing. No, like imagine what happens in 6 years when you're like, if for 6 years, if you're sweeping everything, I took your action. If you're sweeping everything under the rug for 6 years, maybe you're not having sex for 6 years, maybe you're resenting one another for 6 years, or maybe you're just sitting on top of that fence, like we said, for 6 years.
Or just like doing that pretending thing, right? Like where again, it's like maybe outside looking in, it still looks like you're still getting the kids to their activities and you have like 3 solid meals a day. Like it's like, you're like doing the adulting things that make it look like things are thriving, but really you're both like just miserable and lonely in this relationship for 6 years. I mean, I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
No. And what does the relationship look like at the end of those 6 years? Quite often, the ship has sailed. It's now too late.
Right. That's another good point, that when people do wait that long and then they reach out, it's like there's so much stuff that's been piling up that it's really hard to tackle it.
Yeah,
Right?
it's like, so another analogy, I'm moving away from the yard, but another one that we often use is, it's like your check engine light in your car has been on for 6 years, but you haven't taken it to get checked out, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
imagine lifting the lid after 6 years. Would you even be able to lift a lid?
I think
you'd
it's called
be
a
screwed.
hood.
Lid, hood, whatever. You'd be screwed. The car would be destroyed, right?
Yeah.
It would be destroyed. And so, yeah, it's
And
like,
you just wouldn't, like, I don't know anyone who would wait that long because your car is the thing that's keeping you safe and getting you from A to B, and it's such an important part of your life.
but you know why they wait?
Why?
So a few reasons. One is maybe it's not the check engine, maybe it's that little exclamation mark, and they're like, what the fuck does that mean?
Oh, that's good. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they're like, something's not right, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
Is
so-
it the tire pressure?
See, now
or-
you're scared because you don't know you don't know the car words. But so it could be that light came on in their relationship, and they're like, I don't know what's even wrong, and so they wait. Or maybe, Lise, it's like, well, check engine lights on. That's gonna be a big bill from the mechanic.
Oh, good one. Yeah. So it's like, let's avoid putting throwing money at this problem.
Yeah.
Because even then, we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
Right? So it's this
yeah.
uncertainty, and it's almost like better to just like put our blinders on.
Yeah.
And keep pretending.
Or maybe it's a different light that's come on and they're like, oh yeah, I saw that in the manual, but ooh, that's gonna take a long time to read through that manual and to really understand it. I don't know if I'm willing to put in that time and effort.
Yeah. Or they've gotten their information about what they think that light means in their car from their friends or from
Yes.
various places online, and then they're just like, oh, well, I know what to do because, these 2 ladies on YouTube told me.
Except we're the experts, so you can listen to us. But yeah, there's so many reasons, so many different lights that can come on in that car that make them wait those 6 years. So same can be said in relationships, right? And really, what's at the base of all those light waitings? The fear. At the base of all of that is the fear.
So what should people do? If you're still listening to us and all of our many analogies and you're feeling scared and you don't know if you should stay or go, what should the people do, Linz?
Well, you shouldn't wait 6 years. You need to reach out and ask for help. And I mean, that is what we do. I think we're pretty damn good at it. But it doesn't have to be us. We would just really encourage you to reach out and ask for help before a month turns into a year, which turns into 3, which turns into 6, right?
Yeah. So if anything, this is just a call to action
Yeah.
to say, get off the fence, check that engine light, figure out what's going on. Ask yourself and your partner some of the hard questions and figure out what the best next steps are, but you don't have to do it alone.
Yes. You know what, Lise?
What?
Sometimes you can, keep going. Sometimes you can take your car in with that check engine light on and they're like, oh, you know what? The light came on just because your oil's a little low. No problem.
Yeah, it's true.
Like,
It might not be something super big.
it might not be so scary.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just like a little check-in on on communication.
Yeah. Or maybe you've like been holding on to a resentment that's been growing and growing and growing, but really you just got to be brave enough to share what that is.
Yeah, there's so many things, so many small things it could be, but at the root of it, you don't know until you reach out and ask for help, right? Take the first
Look
step.
under the hood. The cap, the top, whatever you
The
call
lid.
it.
I
The
think
lid.
I called it a lid. Yeah.